Amen. Right, Manas. Shall we start? No? Right. So in here that your accounting information systems, OAIS. Right. In AIS, we have to discuss many of the matters regarding accounting platform. I think you are having some basic qualifications in accounting. And also you are having some basic experiences or basic kind of educational background in IT. I think most of the students, those who are having that, right? So that's why I'm starting from here. Otherwise, I need to explain many of the devices, input devices, output devices, just like that. But in here, now you are in a bachelor course now. Then you are having some basic knowledge of accounting and also you are having kind of identical knowledge in IT, right? Based on that particular identifications, I'm going within this study, right? So first chapter is role of information system in accounting, right? Generally, you are knowing it has number of information systems for an organization. If you are working within any of the functional area of organization, we can see wide variety of systems, wide variety of systems. So in within your organization, I think it's having kind of systems, right? What are those? Yes, any system. So what else? QuickBook for accounting. Okay, well, what else? ERP. Then Oracle, which one? I'm asking based on your
Wow.
organization. Okay, Lakshani, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Right. This is the session relating to the accounting information system. First, we are getting some overview, identifications of accounting information system in today. Is it having any kind of doubts? Lakshani, you can raise your questions. Huh?
Okay, sir.
Right. Tell me that I think you had explained ERP, QB, Zoho, and also some Oracle systems, right? In within your organization, if you can see these kind of multi-dimensional system, it has kind of complexity to Ah, in your company, it has only so okay, good, well, right. That's why I'm asking that, right? Is it having different kind of packages? Then we do not know where we are performing. No, that kind of Zoho is a integrated system, and also QB is a kind of some standalone system for accounting departments, like that it has. But if you are using ERP system, it's the most powerful system package in nowadays. ERP is a kind of category. It has some reputed brands in ERP, like SAP, like your answer in Oracle, hmm, Oracle JD Edwards, like that. It has several kind of brands. But actually, what is meant by this ERP? It's having a separable part of accounting. I think you can conduct your performances under this ERP package. That actually what is meant by that ERP? What are the features of ERP out of other systems? In particularly this ERP system or enterprise resource planning systems are, we call them as an integrated system. Those are kind of integrated system. I mean some mature point, not in basics, then you can capture some of the ideas, right? Based on your capacities, I'm going beyond that, right? That basic identical facts are irrelevant, no? In these days, nowadays, all are prominent for some factors of technology, no? So therefore, we can start, right? So if we are discussing QB, QuickBook, comparing with this ERP system, I told you that ERP is kind of integrated system. But if you can compare it with QB, which kind of system is a QB? Only accounting base, right? Only accounting base, right? Generally, we can call them as a stand-alone system. Stand-alone system. They are standing for some kind of functional areas like accounting. Got the idea? Right. The second thing is this one. That integrated system means not only accounting department. It has wide variety of functional areas aligning with ERP. Say for an example, productions, HR department, easy type kind of projects. You can do all kind of transactions by using ERP, like that. But anyhow, by using each and every system, we try to some convenience activities in our day-to-day performances. That's the simple identical facts, right? So then I'm starting your chapter by using some identical terms. Identical terms. It's important for your final examination. Sometimes it's aligned with MCQs. It's having some Pearson model of examination paper. Now. I think you had done one examination in your first semester. Then you know the way of that questioning and answering and anything, right? Then in here, I'm starting it as a system. System. Now, you are having that entire knowledge, and also I think that online Lakshani, I think she's having that knowledge. But actually, what is mean by a system? Simple system. That system we can categorize in any ways. It having kind of manual system, some technological system, computerized system. But anyhow, what is a system? Why we are using systems? Yes. Yes, too easy to. What's that? What are the components of a system or the functional areas of a system? Any of the system. Yes, Lakshani? What is your general idea regarding a system? System එකක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද පුතා? Yes? Lakshani, am I audible to you?
Yes.
Okay. How is your interpretations regarding a system? System එකක් කිව්වම මොන වගේ idea එකක්ද පුතා ඔයාට එන්නේ? Save the times. Okay, very good. What else? Mainly, each and every systems has three elements. Each and every systems has three elements. Number one, input. Second one, it's having kind of output. And also, it's having kind of process. It's having a kind of process. Say for an example in simple. Vehicle එකක් තියෙනවා dust වෙලා. Vehicle එකක් තියෙනවා dust වෙලා. අපි යනවා service point එකකට. එහෙම නැත්නම් body wash කරන point එකකට. ඒක process එකක්. පැහැදිලිද? එතකොට අපි dirty vehicle එකක් තමයි input කරන්නේ. මෙතන තියෙනවා process එකක්. එහෙම නැත්නම් washing cycle එකක්. මේ vehicle එක ඊට පස්සේ smart feature එකකින් අපිට output කරගන්න පුළුවන් clear කරලා. It's a kind of system. It has an input, it has a process, then it has kind of outputs. Got the idea? In input, generally we are using data in computer-based systems. Output, Yeah, it's a kind of information in computer-based system. But other systems are having kind of some relevant activities. Got the idea? We can see some different kind of system, manual systems. In here, we are conducting lectures for physical modes, online modes. It has a kind of outputs regarding your knowledges. It's also kind of systems. Right, anyhow. In here, we are discussing that computer-based systems. Computer-based systems, right? See that system identifications. Two or more interrelated components that interact to achieve a goal, often composed of the subsystem that support for the larger systems. Then in here we are discussing some advanced materials, right? That's the core. By using several kind of devices, interconnect of these devices, we can proceed some outputs. So that kind of purpose, we can use some information systems as a processing points. Then we can generate some outputs as a results, as a reports, just like that. Got the idea? And also, it's having kind of complicated systems, not only simple systems. We are conducting this system, we are having kind of process, we are having some outputs, right? Sometimes this output of your process system is be a input of your second system. Got the idea? Then this system become a subsystem of this main system. Like that. But anyhow, all those are systems. Got the idea? We can see those kind of simple systems and also some complex systems. Got the idea? Right. Note down it. The heading is Overview of Accounting Information System, or AIS. Overview of AIS, Accounting Information Systems. Right. Under that, question number 1, define a system. Define a system. Define a system. Right, you can mention this as an answer. Two or more interrelated components that interact to achieve a goal. This is a common system. Say for an example, is that management need a report. That report is final output. Or organizational goal as a complex of that systems. Generally, we can see that organizational goal is the final destination. Like that. Often composed of subsystems that support the larger systems. That subsystems are supporting to the larger systems, it's arise some complex systems, but all those are kind of systems. Right. Within most of the organizations, we can see that complex systems, right? Not that simple systems. Say for an example, in your organization, you are using different kind of systems for different departments, right? For HR department, they are using HRIS or something like that. Accounting department, they can use some different systems. But ultimately, that overall goal is important for all departments. All are achieved at your business strategy. Business strategy. It has a kind of goals, organizational goals. By using that isolated systems or standalone systems, ultimately we try to articulate our business objective. Like that. Then sometimes these systems are interlinked with that entire organizational systems. Then ultimately we can generate some reports. Like that we can see these kind of visibilities. Right. If we are discussing some systems, it's arise with some identical terms. හැම සිස්ටම් එකක්ම අපි ඩිස්කස් කරනකොට පොඩි ටර්ම්ස් ටිකක් තියෙනවා කතා කරන්න. Right. Say for an example, data, information, just like that. Those are some common terms, no? Without having that knowledge, we cannot I mean, study any of the systems. Those are kind of basics. Right. In here, trusting. Now you are having some idea regarding that complex systems with subsystems. Right. If you are going with this term in this study, I told you earlier, I'm expecting you are having that basic knowledge of ITs and also accounting, right? Based on that, we can go forward with, right? So goal conflicts. Conflicts means some kind of arguments or gattana අපි කියන්නේ සිංහලෙන් නේද? Oh, we can see. Goal conflicts. When a subsystem goals are inconsistent with the goals of another subsystem or system as a whole. Generally, we call it as a goal conflicts. Say for an example, you are performing duties of accounting. HR department perform duties of accounting. Then other production department, they are doing that particular activities based on their departments. But you do not consider your overall goal. Sometimes they need some sharing informations. Sharing informations, but you do not enter into that particular arguments or discussions or proceed in that particular informations. Then we can see these kind of goal conflicts among several departments or that overall organizations, like that. Generally, we call that concept as which? Goal conflicts. We can see some disparities or mismatch of that final destinations with your that department objectives, like that. Generally, we call that concept as a goal conflicts, right? Next one is goal congruence. Goal congruence. In Sinhala, we called it as a samanatmata, similarities, just like that. But in here, we can see conflicts. That means disparities or differences. In here, we are discussing opposite term, right? When a subsystem achieves its goals while contributing to the organization's overall goal. Generally, we call that concept as a goal congruence. That your department achieving some output based on the final requirements of your organization. Say for an example, in sales team, that organization, it's having kind of overall target or the budget of the sales of 1 million or 1.2 million gamobi, lazy 1.2 million. Then if you are going within month on month, they are having 100,000 of target on that particular department, right? Then if we are planning our sales department as a separable department, we have to plan to achieve this target in monthly. Got the idea? Got the idea, right? Just like that, if you are going within systematic way, we have to plan that overall goal of the organization, not your department goals, right? Then we can see these kind of goal congruences. Got the idea? That's the meaning behind that. Then it will articulate by that organizational entire destinations. Clear? Right. If you are planning any of the system, those are the co-identical matters we have to consider. Got the idea? Otherwise, we are developing some systems, but there's nothing, any collaborations or elaborations among your linking departments. Got the idea? Then we have to consider that. This is a good sign. And also, if we are designing a system, we have to part of this called congruence. Right. Next one is very simple identical term, data. I think you are knowing that, right? Data is a kind of raw facts. Raw facts that are collected, recorded, and stored and proceed by a system. Or simply you can call those are the input of a system. Got the idea? Right. Come to next, information. Information. That information means your output. Previously, we were discussing input. This one is the output where after process of your input or the data, we can see the information, right? Data has been organized and processed to provide meanings and improve decision making. Always we are using information to decision makings. But on that, we have to discuss another part, but in here I do not discuss that. That part is knowledge. That part is knowledge or the insights. You are having many of the outputs as information, but you do not having some insights regarding your outputs, then you cannot take these decisions. You cannot take that decisions. If you need to take some decisions, you required some knowledge. Good idea. But anyhow, in within the system, we are discussing only that. පැහැදිලිද පුතා? අපිට මොන output එක හම්බුණත් වැඩක් නැහැ. අපිට ඒක ගැන knowledge එකක් නැහැ. Say for an example. At the year end or some kind of interim periods, you are generating comprehensive income statements and financial positions, right? So, is it useful for the marketing department? Or they can read it in a clear manner? No. Why is that? They haven't kind of knowledge regarding your statements and other kind of corrections or adjustments, just like that, no? Then if we are going within some information, we have to improve our own knowledge regarding that output. Otherwise, it's useless. Got the idea? Just like that. අපි මොන output එක දුන්නත් වැඩක් නැහැ මොන system එකකින් ඒක අදාළ තැනට decision එක ගන්නයි දෙන්න ඕන. Got the idea? එතකොට ඒක if you are going within that particular statements with head of finance, it's relevant. Sometimes that background of CEO having kind of knowledge regarding the statement analysis, then you can go through of that. Just like that. That's why most of the information systems are designed in a customized way. Customized way. We can see some different kind of outputs. Some of the users, those who are using some soft copies, some are using some hard copies, as which this information or the output. Sometimes nowadays very popular one is this kind of digital dashboards. Then we can interpret that particular output to the users based on their capabilities or capacities or this knowledge. Got the idea? Right. Anyhow, that's the simple meaning of information, right? Tell me, what are the characteristics of effective information? Accurate. What else? Lakshani? Easy to understand. Very good. What else? Reliable. Reliable. Viswasaniya වෙන්න ඕන. Yes. Lakshani, do you have an answer? That's mean by a system, no? System එකට message එකක් දාලා තියෙන්නේ, right? Anyhow. Right. It has more than that, understandable, timely manner, like that. We will discuss later, but anyhow, in here, I think you are having that basic knowledge, right? So, next concept, information overload. The first thing is information. In here, you can see information overload. So, overload means it's having insufficient capacities within our brain or within our machines. Then it will incur several kind of delays, several kind of complexities or kind of dynamics in your outputs. So therefore, that sufficient level of informations are always the prominent than others. Got the idea? Right. See that concepts. Exceeding the amounts of information a human mind can absorb and process results in the decline of decision-making quality. An increase of cost of providing information. If you are considering that human brain it has outbound capacity of your brain, then you cannot take into decisions, no? That's why we are using sufficient information systems to that, to generate outputs. Then we can manage your decision-making capabilities. In generally, you know that I think you are knowing your knowledge has two types. Your general knowledge has two types. Yes, Manas? Based on your basic studies, how is the knowledge? If I am saying two types,
Practical knowledge and theory knowledge.
Yes, tactical knowledge and Lakshani, repeat it again.
Practical knowledge and theoretical knowledge.
Theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge. Very good. Nice. Your answer? Similar or difference? That is a simplified answer. That simple answer. Got the idea? But in that management, we are discussing different terms for that. It's a similar one, but in knowledge, we are using different terms. I think, Lakshani, I think you heard this. Explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge. Explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge. That explicit knowledge is the theoretical knowledge. It's depend on some documents like textbooks, like these lectures. But the tacit knowledge is a inherent one. Sometimes it's coming with us automatically, inherently. සහජයෙන් එන්නේ අපිට අපි දන්නේම නැතුව ඒ knowledge එක. Or sometimes based on our experiences. On that we are capturing some insights regarding that particular experiences. It's a kind of practical knowledge. We call it as a tacit knowledge, like that. But anyhow, if we are getting some decisions, we need both. But if you are in higher positions within an organization, highly need that tacit knowledge. Got the idea? Highly need that tactical knowledge or the tacit knowledge. Clear? Right. मैं what I mention කරගන්න. What are the basic types of knowledge? What are the basic types of knowledge? What are the basic types of knowledge? Right. Number one, explicit knowledge. Explicit knowledge. Number two, tacit knowledge. Explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge. Explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge. Right. Next two are very popular, very simple. See that information technology. Information technology. All we are using computer devices, computer peripherals are going within that technological part. The computers, other electronic devices used to store, retrieve, transmit, and manipulate data. So in here we can see different or wide variety of hardware, software, so combination of that. And also nowadays we are using some smart devices, smart feature of devices, or we can call it as a kind of wearable devices in IT, especially for production operation cycles, accounting cycles. We are using wide variety of devices. Got the idea? It's important. Next one, value of information. I think you had proceed an answer relating to the effective information. In here, value of information, the benefit provided by information less than the cost of producing it. If you are producing any of the output, we have to go through in sufficient manner or efficient manner to bring or take that particular outputs or the informations. Is it rather than that means it's having additional cost to you. So therefore we have to manage it. In auditing, I think you had studied those kind of aspects in simply. If you are conducting audit, we have to plan that in a sufficient manner. In here also similar, if you are going within to harvesting some information, Then we have to manage that cost or expenditures are arising with that particular harvesting. Got the idea? Right. It's another kind of concepts in computer arena, right? Then I come to your answer. Characteristics of effective information, right? Sometimes it can ask in your examination, right? Note down it as a question, right? What are the characteristics of effective information or the useful information? What are the characteristics of useful information? Under that, it's having, I think, 8. Relevant, reliable, complete, timely, understandable, verifiable, accessible. All additional details are available regarding that concepts. Relevant, reliable, complete, timely, understandable, verifiable, accessible. Right. You can mention like that. I think you are knowing that particular knowledge, but if you need some additional, you can read and get some understanding. Very simple. Right. Next time discussing business process of an organization. That business process means entire activity to conduct or perform your final outputs. It's aligning with some of the organizations with some finished productions. Some are going within manufacturing cycles. But if you are discussing that process approach for information system basis, we do not start in from there that production cycles or that inventory cycles. It's a part of that. But in here, we are evaluating all the matters. Evaluating all the matters. That basic knowledge is very important, right? See that a set of related, coordinated, and structured activities and tasks performed by a person or some computer or machines that help accomplish a specific organizational goal. Each and every organizations, they are performing some processes to ultimate generate a specific organizational goals. As some of the organization perform for a profit basis, some of organizations are performed based on welfare benefits. Just like that, it's having sometimes for both. We can see different kind of outputs or goals or objectives. But anyhow, that way of achieving that particular output, we are considering it as a business process. We are considering it as a business process, right? Go to next. In here, you can recognize entire activities in common organization as business process activities. Business process activities, right? If you are starting from this, acquiring capitals, we need capital to start or conduct a business. Second, acquire building and equipments. Those are general matters, right? I told you earlier, I am starting from some level, right? Third, hire and train employees, acquire inventories, advertising, sales and marketing, sales merchandise, all are aligned with that. Collect payments from customers, pay employees, pay taxes, pay vendors. Like that. Those are some common activities in your business process as a profit organization. Got the idea? Right. If you are going within some key decisions in each and every points, acquiring capitals. We need some capitals to start a business or conduct a business. How much? Find investors or borrowing funds if borrowing obtain the best terms. Those are kind of identical facts. We have to be careful about that. Then you need some additional information for that. Say in here. You need some cash flow projections regarding your desired capital capacities. Perform a financial statements. Prior to perform, you have a kind of profit analysis regarding your business. If you are going with simple investments, prior to invest, You are conducting or you are performing some NPV calculations, no? To get in some understanding regarding your investments. Just like that in here, if I start in a business, we have to formulate some kind of output evaluations. Next one, loan amortization schedules. If you are going within borrowings, we should have in those kind of schedules, schedules of your capital arrangements as a funds or as kind of borrowings or anything. Right. Go to next, acquire building and equipments. In here, you can see some parts, size of a building, amount and equipments. If you are renting out or buy, purchase, location, how to depreciate. Those are kind of identical facts you have to consider prior to start your business. Right. Next, based on that particular assets, acquire building and equipments, you have to analyze capacity, building equipment prices, market study, tax tables and depreciation regulations. You have to consider those matters. Right. Next one, hire and train employees. Right. Hire and train employees. Experience requirements, how asset integrate that particular applicants, how trained employees. Those are kind of questions you have to consider. Which kind of information you need, job descriptions, each and every positions, you have some clear understanding. Then you can hire, you can do that particular recruitments. Applicant, job history and skills. Just like that, those are kind of identical basics. If you are starting a business and if you are conducting a business, finally, if you are achieving that final destinations or final organizational goals, we have to analyze these all matters. But in here, the main thing is we have clear idea regarding our business process. That's the main thing. The second one is we need some sufficient informations to achieve that business process. Got the idea? Those are the identical factors. I do not explain all the things. I think you are having that accounting knowledge. You are knowing what are the basic areas in that business cycles. Say for an example, pay vendors. That vendors means most probably we are getting some short-term funds. Then we have to pay them, no? By using your particular inventories. Just like that. I think you had studied some working capital management, just like that. But these all part of business process are important for conducting a sufficient business. Sufficient business. Right. No doubt it. Sometimes that examiners can ask some entire questions in your section 2 or 3 regarding that business process. Then by using this kind of example, you have to explain all kind of business process activities with key information. Got the idea? Right. No doubt. Briefly explain business process. Briefly explain business process. Right. In here, you can generate an answer. It's a simple answer. Write down an answer. Right. Each and every business process have clear predetermined. determine outputs. That's the mean behind that. If you are conducting a business, I told you as organizational wide, it has a kind of organizational goals as outputs, as a profit or as welfare or CSR or anything. If you are considering as a product, that entire production cycle is aligning with this business process. On that, we can choose either models, business models to achieve that goals or the outputs. Got the idea? Right. Next. In here, we are discussing that information requirements align with accounting. Now I come to your destination. Right. Most of the business process are aligning with transactions. Transactions, right? The transactions in between two parties, we can see, right? It's a common term, not only for accounting, for any of the purpose, it's having kind of transactions. And agreements between two entities to exchange goods or services, such as selling inventory in exchange for cash, any other event that can be measured in economic terms by an organization. It may be selling of goods and receiving money, it's a kind of transactions, or you are getting some services from employees and pay to them as a payroll. All are kind of transaction. I think you are having that knowledge. Second one, transaction processing. Process of capturing transaction data, processing it, storing and later use, and the producing information output such as managerial reports and financial statements. That's the ultimate goal of transaction processing, right? So if we are proceeding some kind of transactions, then ultimately it has kind of final output as kind of financial statements or the managerial reports. Got the idea? Right. Next one, give, get, exchange. In all the situations of these kind of transactions, we can see these two concepts. Some parties are giving and other parties, opposite party is giving. Getting, giving and getting always. You are giving service to your organization and you get cash from them as your payroll. Just like that. All the things we can see that you get exchange relationships. The transactions that happen a great many times, such as giving up cash, get inventory from suppliers and giving employees paychecks in exchange of their labors. Just like that, we can see give and get concept. Give and get concepts. Then I think now you are having some entire knowledge regarding system characteristics or system developing characteristics, basic characteristics. Without knowing this kind of knowledge, we cannot develop a business, that kind of sufficient system. Got the idea? That's why I had studied those matters. අපි දැන් මේ ටික හරියට ස්ටඩි කරේ නැති වුණොත් අපිට සිස්ටම් එකක් කොහොමද බේස් කරලා ස්ටඩි කරන්නේ? Sorry, build up කරන්නේ. Idea එකක් නැහැ. So that's why we have to go through that. I told you are having that basic knowledge. That's why I'm explaining here. So otherwise, if you are going within HR students or any kind of some general disciplines related some management students, I need to explain many of the materials aligning with accounting. Got the idea? But you are having that sufficient knowledge. You know the meaning of transactions. You know where the transactions are occurring. Just like that. That's why I'm starting from here. Otherwise, I need to go through in a foundation level. පැහැදිලි නේද? ඔව් අපි සිස්ටම් එකකට එනවා නම් මේවා දැනගෙන තමයි accounting system එකක් හදන්න ඕන. business process එක දැනගෙන තියෙන්න ඕන. overall model එක මොනවද අපි transact කරන්නේ. Otherwise, we cannot perform a information system. Got the idea? Right. Then you do not need to write these materials. Those are some common materials in accounting. That accounting bodies have having this knowledge regarding transactions and that you get concepts, right? If you are going within some architect, you can get some idea of that, right? I'll show it in here. This is the foundation of this course content or that syllabus content, right? In here, at the center, you can see that reporting system. At the center, you can see what? Reporting system. Got the idea? Right. Then we can see it's aligning with several kind of accounting cycles or transaction cycles. Got the idea? Right. See one by one. Right. First one, we can see some financing cycles. Financing means, yes, Manas, Lakshani. What is mean by finance? Mhm.
Transaction using money.
Cash inflow and outflow, cash receiving from customers. But it has different kind of arguments. But in here, that financing means we need some capitals to start a business. Hmm? Then it has several funding organizations. Several funding organizations, no? Like financial institutions, bankers, like that. We are using, or otherwise you can use stock markets to find out your capitals as long-term debts or share in share market as your ordinary shares or the preference shares, just like that. But anyhow, these are kind of funding arguments. Funding arguments. If you received that funds, mainly you are going within these kind of cycles. Got the idea? ඔයාලට funds හම්බුනාම funds තමයි අපි invest කරන්නේ මේ different destinations වල. Got the idea? Right. Okay. Come to this human resource cycle. This is another cycle. In here, we can see the labor force or the employee force. These each and every these cycles, it's having that predetermined concept. What's that? Give and get. Give and get. In here also similar, give and get. You can see all transactions are aligning with those. Got the idea? If you are building up accounting information system, we have to analyze it in a careful manner by using your that basic elements of your transactions. Got the idea? Right. Write down this question. What are the basic cycles? What are the basic cycles in accounting information system? In accounting information system. Right. You can mention number one, financing cycle. Financing cycle. Number two, HR cycle or payroll cycle. Number three, expenditure cycle. Expenditure cycle. Next one, production cycle. Next one, revenue cycle. Revenue cycle. Revenue cycle. And finally, you can mention general ledger and reporting cycle. If we are doing any of the transaction, it will align in with your general ledgers. It has nominal kind of accounts, and also we can see some personal base, some accounts. All are going within that general ledgers, right? Now in here, try to catch up some advanced knowledges, right? Based on the linking of these all cycles, it's important to building up accounting information systems, right? You can see these all that sub-cycles are interconnect with your this centralized system or centralized cycle. Got the idea? I will show that. Say for an example, this is number one. You can see it's interconnect with this. If I come to second, you can see that interconnection of this. If I come to third, you can see interconnect of this. If I come to this as fourth, you can see the interconnect of this. If I come to fifth, you can see the interconnect of this. That's mean each and every cycles are interconnected with the general ledger with your reporting system. As which data. We are proceeding all the data based on each and every your subcycles in within an information system. Got the idea? Accounting information system. Right. Second thing is it's having your that transaction concept. What's that? Give and get. Give and get concepts. Then if you are building up any accounting information system, we require to build up this kind of structure. That's the important thing. Got the idea? අපි අතට accounting system එකක් build up කරනවා නම් මේ link එක ගැන හොඳ අවබෝධයක් තියෙන්න ඕන. Otherwise we cannot generate a sufficient information system for the users. Got the idea? Right. The next thing is we have to finding out all the sub relationships among those cycles. Got the idea? Then in here, this revenue cycle is interconnected with that financing cycles. Financing cycles. This production cycle is interrelated with the revenue cycles. We can see that connections. If we are selling that productions, it will directly indicate the revenues. We require to build up that particular relationships. Come to this expenditure cycle aligning with the production cycles. We need to purchase raw materials to produce some productions. It's a kind of expenditure. It's depend on the production cycles like that. We have to find out that interrelationships among variables or that particular cycles. In here, human resource cycles also similar. We can see interrelationships among these two parties. We need some finance and also we need some labors on that human resources to produce our productions or our manufacturing cycles. In here also similar, we need to funds to expend in raw materials and any other kind of relevant expenditures. Just like that. Got the idea? That interrelationship is important for the design of accounting information system. Got the idea? Then if we are conducting one transaction in here, we can see that connections of that transactions among that relevant cycles. Got the idea? එතකොට අපි එක transaction එකයි කරන්නේ ඔයාලා system එකේ. එතකොට parallel transactions මොකද වෙන්නේ? Automatically upgrade වෙන්න ඕන. By using the system. Got the idea? Otherwise we can see several kind of defaults in your accounting information systems. ඔයාලා කියනවා මේක entry එක දැම්මා අර entry එක ගිහින් නැහැ. ඒ ප්‍රශ්න වෙන්නේ මොනවද? මේ sub cycles වල හරි link එක නැති වුණාම. සමහර systems වල තියෙනවා ඒ වගේ ප්‍රශ්න. සමහර industries වල. එතකොට අපි manual මොකද කරන්න ඕන? ඒ overtake කරන්න ඕන ඒ තියෙන drawbacks. හරිද? ආපහු program එක පොඩ්ඩක් ලියලා customize කරලා හදන්න ඕන. But anyhow, this is the entire architecture of accounting information systems. Got the idea? Right. මේක පොඩ්ඩක් notice කරලා ඇඳ ගන්නකො. Illustrate. Accounting transaction cycles. Accounting transaction cycle. Accounting transaction cycle. Right. Try කරන්න බලන්න මේක පොඩ්ඩක් draw කරගන්න. Accounting transaction cycle. Simply අඳගන්න. මේ mode එක තියාගත්තාම ගොඩක් complex වෙන්නේ නැහැ. But that idea is very important. these all chapters are important for your final examination. So therefore, you have to carefully analyze each and every slides. Right. Then finally, you can see by using this kind of system, we are disseminate or distribute informations for internal and external users. In here, at the end, you can mention it. Got the idea? By using these systems, it has distributions, or we can call it as disseminations of information to relevant parties. Right. I think it's okay to And also these interconnections, all these cycles are proceed some data or information. Commonly we are using term of data to interpret data and information both. But sometimes we can see as a final output, sometimes we can see it's input of other subsystem. Just like that. But anyhow, we are using term of data. Right? Don't hesitate. අපි දැන් matured නේ. ඔයාලා bachelor කරනකොට ඒක තේරෙනවා. සමහරවිට අපි data කියන්නේ රෝම නෙමෙයි. එක්ක proceed කරලා output කරන එක තව අපේ subsystem එක input එකක්. පැහැදිලිද? එතකොට අපි data term එක පාවිච්චි කරා කියලා ඒකේ වැරද්දක් නැහැ. There's nothing any doubts, right? Anyhow, this is the entire architecture. A part of that I had explained these matters, that give get concepts, give get concepts. I think you are knowing that under your accounting knowledge you are having, right? Revenue cycles, expenditure cycle, then production conversion cycle, human financing cycle. These all cycles having that give and get concepts. Give and get concepts. In finance, we are getting some cash and also we have to pay some capital value and interest values. In here, in expenditure cycle, we are getting raw materials from suppliers and we have to pay some cash, give cash. In here also similar in production cycle, we need raw materials to produce productions. That final productions we are taking and also we are paying to raw materials. And also some of the situations we need some laborers. We are getting that labor from HR departments or that HR cycles. Then we are paying to them, give to them. Then finally, we are giving goods and getting cash in that revenue cycles. That goods are provided by production department. That interrelationships, I think it's clear to you. These all kind of transaction arrangements are very important, and also some credit cycles, some subsystems are there. If we are developing some revenue cycles, we have to analyze it in a careful manner or sequential manner. Got the idea? Step by අපි streamline කරන්න ඕන. දැන් අපි AIS එක හදනවා නම් revenue cycle එක base කරලා we have to consider each and every transactions in that particular revenue cycles. Otherwise, it will miss several kind of transactions. Got the idea? Likewise, in this entire syllabus, we are discussing these all cycles. Relevant cycles in accounting information system. It's important for you that practical implementations of that kind of transactions, relevant transactions. Right, anyhow. Okay. In here, it has bulk of major activities aligning with each and every cycles. Revenue cycles, expenditure cycle, human resource cycles, and other cycles. Right. See some of the revenue cycle. Received and answer the customer inquiries. You need some kind of information, no? Isn't it? Customer inquiries as feedbacks in nowadays, most probably, we are interconnect our accounting information systems or ERP systems with social media platform. Social media platform, then we are getting some feedbacks, inquiries from them, right? That relationship is very important. Take customer orders and enter them into AIS. approve credit sales, check inventory availability. Like that, it has bulk of transactions in within single cycle. We have to discuss that. If you are going within expenditure cycle, request goods and services to be purchased, receive goods in here, and also you have to go ahead with some GRN operations, receiving reports in here, store goods, receiving vendor invoices, update accounts payables, vendor invoice payment, all the things we have to consider on that particular cycle. It's not a simple task in accounting information system. We have to handle all kind of transactions relevant for that particular organization or industries. If you are going within human resource, within payrolls, recruitment, hire, training of new employees, it's a kind of relevant activities on that. Discharge employees, we can see some termination, resignations. We have to be careful about that, update payroll records, and also it's arise several kind of additional expenditure to you. You have to be careful about that. In that departures or that particular discharges, it has additional cost elements aligning with some external state organization, government organization like EPF, ETF. You have to conduct some separable transactions with that particular departments. And also, is it having kind of court cases? You have to go through additional expenditures. Collect and validate time, attendance, and commission data of that each and every employees. Is it aligned with time sheets? You have to evaluate that. Is it as kind of job sheets? You have to evaluate that. In nowadays, by using ERP system, we can do all kind of these transactions with the interconnections with that IT basis. By using finger scanners, we can get you in and out in simply. And also we can use some systems to go ahead with your evaluations of working schedules or time. Or by using some ABC based systems, you can evaluate your that production units, that production department base, that factory workers timesheets, like that. Activity based, we can analyze it. Like that, it has several kind of system mechanisms to evaluate your activities. Not only that, others also similar. Production, finance, all the things. We can conduct these all activities by using that predetermined system. Got the idea? Right. Then we can come to the definition of information system, right? Definition of accounting information system. Those are the wide variety area of to recognize this platform. Got the idea? මම හිතන්නේ දැන් තියෙනවා පොඩි idea එකක් accounting information system එකක් වුණාම මොනවද area එක කියලා. Right. Write down this definition. Define as a question. Define accounting information system. Define accounting information system. Right. Up to this, you can mention it. A system that collects, records, stores, and processes data to produce information for decision maker. Decision maker. But these activities are important. Collects, records, stores, or you can use analyze, and process data to produce information for decision makers. This is the simple definition of an information system, not only for accounting, for all information systems, right? Right. Then we can recognize components. Components of accounting information system or any of the system, right? Number one, people. It's having peoples, generally users. Users of the systems, or generally we are discussing some developers also as a people. මිනිස්සු ඉන්න ඕන system එකක් වුණාම නේද වැඩ කරන්න users ලා. Otherwise, it's having some kind of developers or creators. The second one is procedures. Procedures. All system, it's having kind of instructions or procedures. Why? which kind of matters we are using procedures for a system? මොනවද පුතා අපි system එකක් කිව්වම තියෙන procedures? Approved by the supervisor. Okay, very good. What else? Supporting to attachments. Okay, very good. What else? Online students. What are the procedures actually mean by a procedure in information systems? It's kind of general knowledge or general understanding. Backup. Okay, good. But actually procedures means it's having kind of proper guidelines. Proper guidelines with each and every system. It's important. Then we can reduce some corruptions, reduce some frauds. We will discuss later those matters under controlling part. But anyhow, these procedures are very important. Procedures, or you can call it as a guidelines. Each and every system, it's having kind of guidelines. If you are using system in simply, you have to use your user ID with your passwords. It's a kind of procedure. You cannot violate that. You cannot use your friends or your colleagues' passwords. It's a kind of instructions based on your entry of some transactions or disseminating some final outputs. You cannot violate that. And also based on the usings, they are providing some kind of work instructions regarding your systems. Those are very important. Then we can mitigate some vulnerable activities or risk arise with the systems. දැන් ඔයාලා systems කිව්වම risk එක ගැන අහලා ඇතිනේ නේද? ඔව් systems වලට මොකද වෙන්න පුළුවන්? මොනවාද risk තියෙන? Sometimes yes manipulating kind of transactions වෙනස් කරන්න පුළුවන්. What's that? Then we can see some hacking අහලා තියෙන්නේ නේද? ඔව් hack කරනවා කියලා. It's a kind of risk or kind of malpractices. Then if you require to safeguard these information system from these kind of vulnerable activities, we have to follow up these procedures. Got the idea? In each and every points. And also you can conduct as an audit that professionals, some internal controls. That under internal controls, you can investigate compliance with these procedures. Got the idea? Then we can mitigate some kind of risk in nowadays. So that, I mean, last month, it's having kind of experiences in private bankers in that hacking attempts. We can see in commercial bank or something like that. මට මතකයි දැන් මාසයකට දෙකකට විතරත් ඔය ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා. Why is that? They do not follow up these kind of procedures. Got the idea? It's important. Not only that kind of basic elements, but widely we are going within that particular instructions, right? To build up that kind of higher security to our information systems, right? Okay, next, simple data is there. Without data, there's nothing, any information systems. And next one is process having as a software. Always we are conducting our process by using different kind of software packages. In accounting, we are using accounting information system or ERP system. Next one, infrastructure. Information technology infrastructure. We need several kind of infrastructures. Like you need networks or internet. You need storage devices. You need capacities. You need some additional devices. All the things, including the computers, peripheral devices, network communications, like that. All the things coming under infrastructure. Next one, internal controls, aligning with security measures to safeguard AIS. We have to consider all the matters. These all matters are important for the develop of information system. Got the idea? Right, no doubt. What are the main components? What are the main components of an AIS? Of an AIS. Right. You can mention these highlighted terms. May highlight color people, procedures, data, software, information technology infrastructure, internal controls and security measures. Internal control and security measures. Internal control and security measures. Right. Okay. Then come to next. In here, you can get some architect of that entire using of information system. Starting from data collecting, this is the process of accounting information system by using system. You can get in some information. It's used by the users. Then ultimately by using his or her knowledge with that particular output, they can generate some decisions. This is the architecture. Got the idea? Right. Of this system using that final destination is take to sufficient decisions. Sufficient decisions. Right. Okay. Then in here onwards, I am discussing some advantages and interrelationship of accounting information system with entire organization. Right. Entire organization. Right. In here, first, it's having kind of advantages of information system. Right. Number one, improving the quality and reducing the cost of production and services. If you are using any of the system, generally you know that it's a kind of efficient utilization of the resources by using any of the system. Not only accounting information system, if you are going in some process or manufacturing systems, we can see that reductions of the cost. And also sometimes we can downsize our labor force or employee base by using the system. එතකොට system එකකින් අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන් 10 දෙනෙක් කරන වැඩ එක්කෙනෙක්ගෙන් just like that. We can flatter our organizations. We can eliminate some of the positions of our organizations. Then we can see some cost reductions, and also it's having higher kind of accuracy of our final outputs than manuals, than humans. Just like that. Next one, improving efficiency. That means we can reduce the cost. Next one, sharing the knowledge. Among that relevant users, we can share the knowledge. We can download all the times, we can share, we can export, we can import. Just like that, it has several features. Then within few seconds, we can share our documents. Otherwise, we are dependent on some courier services or some persons, just like that. But if you are using kind of systems for that, we can eliminate those kind of some drawbacks or delays or anything. That's why we are using systems. Next one, improving the efficiency and effectiveness of the supply chain. It's important. Nowadays, you are knowing that if you are producing any productions, we need to interconnect with our suppliers, regular suppliers, at least cost. At least cost. So therefore, we have to find out that sufficient suppliers out of that local suppliers. That's why we are using systems. Then we can find out that least suppliers in different locations. sometimes in abroad. දැන් අපි productions කරන්න ගියාම ලංකාවේ local suppliers ළඟ නතර වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. ලෝකේ ඕන තැනකට අපිට interconnect කරන්න පුළුවන්. By using systems, we can interconnect all suppliers. Then it have a 100% of transparency in that transactions. We are using system-based procurement cycles. Then it will indicate 100% transaction transparencies. 100% transparency of your transactions. There's nothing any hidden commissions or anything. All suppliers are registered to your systems. Then all the transactions are going within that particular systems. Payments are having that online modes. By using what? Okay. In here, by using that particular platform of electronic data interchange, right in here, okay, wait for a while, right. Right. In here, you can conduct all the transactions within that 100% transaction transparency, and also you can use that EDI mode, electronic data interchange, within your transactions. It will indicate that 100% transaction transparency. And also all the documents, we are going within some PDF modes. Nowadays, very popular versions, PDF modes with your digital signatures. Digital signatures. Got the idea? Then it's a liable documents. Especially in supply chains, we can use those by using information systems. Right. Go to next, improving internal control structures. We will discuss in next chapter. Based on the COSO models, we can implement higher capacity of internal controls by using a system than manuals. We can discuss it in a later, but that control structure is always going within that particular systems. You are using to in and out for that particular systems. We are measuring all the measurements based on the payrolls, based on another kind of payments, based on the system transactions. Then there's nothing any doubts. Then we can do that internal controls. Then ultimately we can see improving of decision makings. Got the idea? Those are some common identical facts. Okay. I try to indicate that size. Right. Okay. Go to next. In here, I try to convince to you, if you are building up accounting information system, it's not only IT task. It's having some kind of interconnections among relevant parties. But nowadays we are discussing some dimensions. But in your syllabus, I do not add that. It's going within some accounting and management disciplines. But in here, I try to convince that interrelationships of that accounting information system like this, right? If you are building up accounting information system for an organization, mainly it will interconnect with that particular business strategy. Otherwise, it's not articulate that organizational final destinations. Second, it's having kind of information technology, and also this one, very important one. It will build up sometimes some novel culture to your organizational members or the employees. Or sometimes we can articulate that exist in particular cultures. දැනට තියෙන සංස්කෘතියම අපිට උපසංස්කෘතියක් හදන්න පුළුවන්. System base එකේ. In most of the situations, if we are going within the conversions of that manual to automations, we can see several kind of problems arising with that. පැහැදිලිද? Say for an example in here. මම කියන්නම්කෝ. Organization එකක් තියෙනවා. Organization එකේ ඔක්කොමලා workersලා ඉන්නේ female. All workers are female. It's having 50 workers. How many workers? 50 workers. All are female. If you are going within their ages, all are more than 50 years. More than 50 years. Right? That means most probably they are having, I think, 20 years of experience or so, more than that. They are using manual mechanisms to do their transactions or performance of their task. As novel IT manager, I am suggesting to convert their performances into automation. What has happened to me? I think scenario is clear, no? ඔක්කොමලා manual වැඩ කරන වයසක ladiesලා ටිකක් ඉන්නේ. ඔව්. මොකද වෙන්නේ? If I am suggesting to go forward with automations, by developing a system within, I mean, yes, I'm asking that basic reactions regarding my suggestions or my proposals, how it should like. කැමති වෙයිද? Are they accepting? No. Online students? Are they accepting or not? Yes? Yes. Yes. They do not accept. Why is that? It's not a comfort zone of them, no? ඒක යාලේ comfort zone එක නෙමෙයිනේ. Why is that? They are having more than 20 years of experiences of manual workings. Got the idea? So, that kind of purpose, we have to build up some automated culture. We have to build up some automated culture to them to convince that their task by using that devices or the computers. Just like that. On that mainly we can see the resistance, no? It's having kind of resistance. They are rejecting our proposals. Trust and most. Got the idea? ඉස්සෙල්ලාම යාලා මොකද කරන්නේ? මේ කරන්න බෑ, කරන්න එපා. එහෙම කියනෝ නේද? ඔව් එහෙම තමයි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඔය conversions ඕන දෙයක් කරන්න ගියාම. But on that we need some management disciplines regarding the conversions of them. ඔයා කිව්වේ time එකක් ඕන. On that we are using change management. It is another kind of concepts. We need some change management disciplines. Say for an example, in change management, is it having your that syllabus content? I think you had studied this. This is that manual mechanism. It's like a triangle. This is my automation of final destinations. It's like a circle. This one is like a triangle. Then we need to convert that triangle to circle. It's a kind of periodic approach under change management. We have to change it in this kind of manner. Got the idea? We are using this kind of techniques to convert this manual to automation. Got the idea? Just like that. But anyhow, we can do that. We can perform or we can proceed some kind of rewards to them, or we can conduct some training programs. It's having several kind of opportunities to convert our kind of employees to our relevant destinations. That's our identical goal now. Just like that. It has management tactics. But anyhow, in here, if we are building up that particular information system for an organization, we have to carefully analyze these goals. It's important. Hmm? Right. In that organizational culture, it's going within that organizational structures. We have to build up that particular relevant cultures to that. Say, for an example, in Simply, my organization also similar. Previous organizations, right? දැන් අපි සීනියර් මැනේජ්මන්ට් එක අපි කැමති නෑ තම්බ් එක තියන්න. ඒක තමයි අපේ ජෙනරල් ඩිසිප්ලින් එක. නේද? කැමති විදියකට ඇටෙන්ඩන්ස් ගන්න කියනවා අපි ඔන්න එනවා අවුට් වෙනවා. පැහැදිලිද? එතකොට සමහරවිට security එකෙන් ගන්නවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් HR department එකේ කවුරු හරි ඇවිල්ලා අපේ in out තමයි මාක් කරන්නේ. අපි දැන් ටෙක්නොලොජි එක impose කරන්න ගියාම තම්බ් එක තියන්නේ නැහැ. එතකොට මොකද කරන්න පුළුවන්? මේක straight forward culture එකක් maintain කරන්න පුළුවන් අපිට. salary deduct කරනවා 50% අපි cut down කරනවා කිව්වොත් එමේ attendance නැති අයගේ ඔක්කොම ඇවිල්ලා තම්බ් එක තියනවා. like that. සමහර වෙලාවල් තියෙනවා අපිට ඒ disciplines practice කරන්න වෙනවා. පැහැදිලිද? lecturers ලා දැන් චානක් කියනකොට මොනවද අපි attendance වලට barcode එක දෙන්න ඕන. හිතන්නකෝ. අපි barcode එක නොදී આવොත් එයාට payment නොකර ඉන්න පුළුවන්. why is that? It's a kind of rule. පැහැදිලිද? එතකොට 9ට ඇවිල්ලා lectures කරාට මෙයාලා දන්නේ නැහැනේ. එතකොට දැනගන්න attendance mark වෙන්න ඕන. like that. We require to build up that culture relating to the systems. System culture එක සමහරලාට අපිට එක එක විදියට convince කරන්න වෙනවා. users ලට. Just like that. But anyhow, that culture is very important. Is it having that existing culture regarding that systematic workings or something like that? Then it's very easy. Otherwise, we have to manage that by using some management disciplines, just like that. Got the idea? Next one is technology. Technology capacity. We have to careful analyze of your financial wealthiness regarding the capacity of your investments. Then we can plan these information technologies. පැහැදිලිද? Say for an example, අර පොඩි organizations වලට අපි ලොකු systems වලට යන්න හොඳ නැහැ. ඒ වුණොත් එහෙම එයාගේ profit එකට නැත්නම් income එකට වැඩි expenditure එක වැඩි. They cannot maintain their working capitals and other kind of investments after investing in that. Sometimes they are having only that particular systems. They do not having working capital to conduct a business. We do not support those kind of suggestions. It's irrelevant. So therefore, we have to analyze it in a careful manner. Next one is business strategy. We try to convince that articulate that particular business strategy, not the novel things. It has several kind of mechanism. If you are going within systems, right, in your general knowledge, I can say something, right, in that conversions of particular manuals to automations, it's arise with kind of risk with your returns. Risk with your returns, right? අපි දැන් කොහෙට හරි invest කරනවා නම් concepts, it's having kind of concepts. Then first we have to recognize, is it liable or not? Like in here, simple, we are using automations. Second, rationalizations. BPR, business process re-engineering. Paradigm shift. Like that, it has several kind of concepts to discuss regarding their financial requirements and the business strategies. Then we can perform the conversions. That most of the organizations are going within this BPR. It's very popular nowadays. අපි process එක තමයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට redesign කරන්නේ, reorganize කරන්නේ by using a system approach. Got the idea? Like that. But in here, that main thing is we have to recognize that particular organizational business strategy. Like that. It's having kind of identical facts, right? We'll see that. I think now you are having that idea, basic idea, right? See, the figure shows 3 factors that influence the design of accounting information system. Developments of IT or information technology, business strategy, and organizational culture, right? We'll see in speed manner. It's also important to that design of AIS can influence the organizational culture by controlling the flow of information within the organization, right? For example, AIS that can make information easy to accessible, widely available, likely increase pressure for more decentralized and autonomy. That's mean if we are going within some decisions, we can use either mechanisms. That means centralized mechanism or decentralized mechanism. That centralized means most probably it's aligned with top to bottom. Top to bottom. We are getting decisions in here and we are transfer it to the bottom lines. We called it as a centralized. In nowadays, very popular version is decentralized. Decentralized. This one. Most of the decisions are taken by lower levels. After that, they are informing that decisions to the top management. Top management, like that. It's a kind of mechanism. By using information systems, we can get higher outputs in that decentralizations. Say for an example, one simple example එකක් කියන්නම්කෝ. Right. ඔයාලා දන්නවද insurance company, general insurance vehicle ඔයාලගේ bikes එහෙම දාලානේ තියෙන්නේ. Right. දැන් ඉස්සර තිබ්බේ දැන් අපේ ඔයාලගේ කාලේ වගේ අපි ඔයාලගේ වයසේ ඉන්නකොට අපිට ක්ලේම් එකක් ගන්න උනොත් ඇක්සිඩන්ට් එකක් වෙලා ඉස්සෙල්ලාම අපි පොලිස් එන්ට්‍රි එකක් දාන්න ඕන. එන්ට්‍රි එක දාලා කෝට් කේස් එකක් තියෙනවා නම් කෝට් කේස් එක ඉවර වෙන්න ඕන. ඊට පස්සේ ගිහින් අපි ගරාජ් එකකට ඒක කෝට් කේස් එක ඉවර වෙලා ගරාජ් එකට ගෙනින් දාන්න ඕන වෙහිකල් එක. දාලා යාළගෙන් කොටේෂන්ස් ගන්න ඕන. කොටේෂන්ස් අරන් ඔක්කොම ටික අපි යාළට සබ්මිට් කරාම ඒ ටික හෙඩ් ඔෆිස් යනවා. හෙඩ් ඔෆිස් එකට ගිහින් හෙඩ් ඔෆිස් එකෙන් ඇප්‍රූවල්ස් දුන්නාම තමයි අපිට ෆයිනල් ක්ලේම් එක එන්නේ වෙහිකල් එක හදන්න. Sometimes it's going within more than 6 months. Centralized decisions. In nowadays, we can see decentralized decisions. දැන් මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? Conversions. Access එනවා ළඟට. ඇවිල්ලා ඒතකොට decision එක ගන්න කවුද? පහළ layer එකේ. bottom line එකෙන් තමයි decision එක ගන්න. Accessors. Those are operational level some executives know. They are taking into account decisions. එයා එනවා photos ගන්නවා claim එක ඕකේද කියලා බලනවා cash ඒවලම දෙනවා. නැත්නම් check එකක් දෙනවා. Like that. Decentralized decisions. අරගෙන මොකද කරන්නේ? top management එකට inform කරනවා මේ claim එක කරා. Only that. Decentralized decisions. Got the idea? But in here, by using systems, we can effectively use that decentralized decisions by using that system linkage. ඔයාගේ ඉන්න supervisor දාන්න පුළුවන්. branch manager දානවා. එතනින් ගියාම head office එකට දානවා. Just like that. Got the idea? That's why we are using systems. Right. Next. Second one. IT developers can affect business strategy. For example, the internet has profound affected by many activities performed. In here, if you are going within business strategy, most probably that real-time outputs are very important nowadays. In here, I am discussing that matter. Right? See, the internet dramatically cut the cost, thereby helping companies to implement the low-cost strategies. If even company use the internet to adopt the low-cost strategy, then effects might the problematics. We have to carefully analyze within that utilizing of internet performing their duties. Why is that? Sometimes is it having kind of drawbacks? Drawbacks in their networks or the systems, it will affect several kind of influences from outside as a competitors or kind of some hackers. Then we have to be careful. Indeed, one possible outcome may intense price competition among the firms with likely results that most cost savings are provided by the internet get passed of the industry's customers rather than being retained form of higher profits. If you are going within internet, it's having kind of higher competitions. Then we have to consider regarding our returns. Got the idea? It's an open market. But anyhow, if we can build up it's in a wider manner by using reductions of cost in some kind of repetitive activities or irrelevant duties, then we can mitigate that by using some redesigning of our organizational business process. Then we can get higher margins of that, just like that. Moreover, because the more companies that internet streamline its activities, companies unlike to gain sustainable long-term competitive advantage. But anyhow, if we are conducting any of the business by using business strategy, we have to follow up all the general guidelines, all the theoretical basis with our knowledgeable workforce, higher capacity workforce. Then we can manage everything. In that, internet play a vital role to build up their that business strategies. There's nothing, any limitations, then you can conduct a multinational business. That's the mean behind that. But anyhow, in here, we have to plan everything by using this kind of platforms. That's the main behind that. And not only that, we can conduct some predictive analysis. We can forecast. We can forecast after getting some information as data. Then we can evaluate that particular patterns. In nowadays, we are using some updated tools like OLAP, online analytical procedures, data mining. Like that, it has several tools. Then you can get some predictive analysis. Predictive analysis. You can foresee your organization. And also, it's having kind of some external link with your competitors, some industries, some contents, and also some social media surveys, just like that. Then you can conduct some predictive analysis by using information system. Then all together, you can build up higher kind of organizational business to achieve more profits or more welfares. Got the idea? Right. But anyhow, these all discussions are very important to improve your that accounting information system. That most of the accounting information systems are aligning with all parties of an organization. It's having all the transactions. I told you earlier, it's having several kind of cycles. Then all the cycles are aligning with your basic duties, basic activities and roles. Okay. Next, another concept, right? Write down a question. Illustrate, illustrate Michael Porter's value chain. Illustrate Michael Porter, or generally value chain. We call this as a value chain, but it's introduced by Michael Porter's. Right. That illustrate means you require to draw this. It's having these supportive activities and these primary activities. You require to mention that. Mention කරගන්නකෝ. ඇඳ ගන්න බලන්න. Only you can mention these primary activities. Others you can see it's having five primary activities and four supportive activities. Those are support activities. These are primary activities. Primary activities. Draw that. Illustrate means you require to draw. Illustrate කරන්න කියලා exam එකේදී තිබ්බොත් අනිවාර්යෙන් පුතා drawing එකක් දාන්න ඕන. Otherwise we are proceeding half marks. Right. In here, mainly you can see it has 4 primary activities in manufacturing organizations. Manufacturing organization. These all activities arise with kind of cost. Kind of cost. And also in here, you can see some supportive activities. It's important for the organizations, right? We can draw in a different mode. Then ultimately you can generate entire cost of this. Entire cost of this to set your selling price. A part of that in here, you can mention margin as a profit. You can set the profit or the margin for that. Got the idea? Right. That's the genuine architecture in here. But simply, if you are using some systematic way to do these transactions, then we can eliminate or decrease some additional expenditures, right? If you are going within primary activities, the first one is inbound logistics. Inbound logistics. That means if we are manufacturing or producing any of the productions, we need some raw materials from suppliers. In that inbound logistics, mainly we are focusing that supplier side. Supplier sides. Then, if we using that sufficient information systems to do that particular transactions, then we can mitigate some additional cost in our stores or the warehouses. Got the idea? That's the mean behind that. In nowadays, very popular version of that is JIT, just-in-time inventories. We are purchasing from suppliers based on our operations or demand of our customer productions. JIT, just in times. By using which that close relationships among suppliers. ඒතර suppliersලා system වලින් අපිත් එක්ක බැඳිලා ඉන්නේ. Say for an example, Toyota, Nike, very popular productions. They do not maintain additional stocks in raw materials. That Toyota is generally you are knowing, they are assembling their productions. They do not produce any single part of that vehicles. What's the idea? Only aligning with that supply channels. Based on their productions, each and every day that agreed or the license that suppliers proceed that raw materials to their factory premises. Then they do not go ahead with additional inventories. Nike also similar like that. එතකොට පුතා අද ගොඩක් කලාට බිස්නස් එක වයිඩ් අපිට ඒතර මේන්ටෙනන්ස් කොස්ට් නෑ අඩුයි. ඒතර සිස්ටම් එකේ අපි ප්‍රොඩක්ෂන් එකට අවශ්‍ය දවසට අවශ්‍ය සප්ලයි එක ගත්තාම ඇති. Like that. Then we can eliminate additional holding cost, maintenance cost, just like that. Then it will directly influence to our final production cost. Got the idea? Second, based on our operations, most of the operations are going within technological based processes. Technological based process. We are using some computer based processes for producing some productions. Got the idea? Then we can reduce some wastages. We can reduce wastages in operations. Generally, it has normal wastages, abnormal wastages in your accounting calculations, no? Then we can mitigate sometimes up to 0 in abnormal wastages or some normal wastage up to some sufficient levels. Then we can reduce the additional cost of operations by using systems. දැන් අපි system එකකින් production එකක් කරනකොට අපිට production එකේ එක පැත්තකින් quality එක වැඩි. Quality එක enhance කරන්න පුළුවන්. All outputs having a similar mode, similar features, similar quality. But if you are using manual mechanism, we can see some dramatics, no? Aligned with that outputs. That's why we are using technological based processes in operations. Then come to this outbound logistics, distributions, channels. Generally, you know that most of the organizations, they are using different kind of channels to go through that end users or decide this based on the customers. Customers. Sometimes we are the producers, it's having wholesalers, retailers. In here, it's having kind of distributors, wholesalers, retailers. Then we can see customers. We can see kind of customers. But nowadays, we can see that producers directly connect with the customers, overtaking other channels by using online mediums. දැන් online ඔයාලට පුළුවන් system base එකේ කෙලින්ම customer ගෙන්ම purchase කරන්න from some China, from Europe by using that systematic way. Then we can reduce this kind of channel cost. Or some of the situations we can see both parts, that online modes and offline modes. Then most of the times that online part is aligning with least cost. We can proceed our productions at the lower price of sellings. Good idea. දැන් ඔයාලා හිතන්නකෝ පොඩි example එකක් මම කියන්න මේකට general example එකක්. දැන් මේ තියෙනවා textiles නේද? Textiles. එතකොට අපි textiles වල අපි එයාලගේ showroom visit එකකට ගිහින් හිතන්න t-shirts ගන්නවා කියලා. t-shirt එක හිතන්නකෝ 2000 කියලා. සමහරවිට මේ same t-shirt we can purchase in online at the least cost of 1500. Why is that? Sorry for that. Right. If you are going within that physical locations, it's having some additional cost. මොනවද? Building rent එක ගෙවන්න ඕන මෙයාලා. Building rent, utility bills, sanitization bills ගෙවන්න වෙනවා, electricity, water charges තියෙනවනේ. ඊට අමතරව employee payments, managers ලා ඉන්නවා, executives ලා ඉන්නවා, maintain කරන්න ඕන, maintenance cost මේ ඔක්කොම indicate කරනවා. මේ ඔක්කොම indicate කරලා තමයි මොකද cost calculate කරන්න වෙන්නේ. online කරනවා නම් මොකද වෙන්නේ? courier charge එක විතරයි යන්නේ. only courier charge. ඔයාලා සාමාන්‍ය packaging එක ඔක්කොම කරලානේ තියෙන්නේ. මෙයාලට මේ transport cost එකත් mitigate කරන්න පුළුවන්. It's as a kind of bulk of transactions. So then it's also prominent. You can build up, higher capacity of your market share than manuals, that physical locations. දැන් අපි physical locations දැම්මොත් candy දැම්මොත් candy විතරයි. පැහැදිලිද? මේ නිකන් ඔයාලට කියන්නේ advantage එක. පැහැදිලිද? දැන් physical ඔයාලා location එකක් base කරලා candy දැම්මොත් මේකේ sale එක තියෙන්නේ කොහෙද? candy විතරයි. දැන් ඔයාලා online base එකට ගියාම limitation එකක් තියෙනවා locations. You can proceed your outputs to that United States or the Australia just like that. That's why that online base is very popular than the manual. But in the reputations of some business, we are going within that both modes, but we have to manage that conflicts among these channels. එතකොට physical mode එකේ channel එකේ price එක සහ online mode එකේ channel එකේ price එක පොඩ්ඩක් අපි consider කරන්න වෙනවා management එක විදිහට. But anyhow, if you are used not that in here I am discussing another matter. If you are using that kind of sufficient channel of distributions by using online mode, then we can overcome several kind of additional cost from our production lines or our organizational warehouse to end user, customer. Got the idea? Customer. Then it will directly affect your final selling price. Selling price. This is the third one. First one, I think you capture. Second, also third. Then we come to this marketing and sales. You know, nowadays, very popular versions of marketing or the sales is social media promotions, not mass media. Just like that, we have to capture that relevant advertising and selling models to the end users. It's another kind of matters. Then we can mitigate or reduce additional cost by using systematic way. Got the idea? Then we can convince, we can capitalize who are the relevant or that powerful users of our productions. If you are using mass media channels to advertise in, then we cannot target our, that visible audience. Got the idea? අපි දැන් මොනවද අර මාස් මීඩියා concept එක බලන්නකෝ. It has TV channels no, like Sirasa TV, Swarnavahini, like that it has no. දැන් ඒ වගේ අපි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ප්‍රොමෝෂන්ස් කරනකොට අපි ජෙනරලි හැමෝටම දෙන්නේ. අනිත් එක රේට් එකත් වැඩි, peak hours ලොකු රේට් එකක් ගෙවන්න වෙනවා 4 seconds. Got the idea? But if you are using social media mechanism for our advertising, we can find out target audience in that sites. Site එකට ගිහින් අපේ target audience බලන්න පුළුවන්. WhatsApp promotions කරන්න පුළුවන්. අපි target කරන audience එකට. එහෙම නැත්නම් අපිට emails පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අර physical organizations use කරනවා electromagnet card. එතකොට ඕකේ ඔයාලගේ contact numbers, email addresses ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා. Then they are conducting some promotions like Kiehl's, Apico, like that. Then we can mitigate additional cost in our marketings. With some sales reps, we can reduce. And also that channels like mass media. Then final thing is maintenance or after sales services. In online mode, we can proceed several kind of maintenance materials, work instructions manuals, fixing materials by using videos, audios, images. Then it's convinced to the users, no? අපිට මොනවාරි after sales service එකක්, warranty claims, guarantee claims, just like that. We can go ahead with online mode to reduce some additional cost. Otherwise, we require to waste some fuel to visit that particular customers to fix and everything. But is it a simple kind of fixing materials? Then we can advise it by using online platform. Then we can reduce additional cost. Just like that. The other things are that supportive activities. Supportive activities. In here, we are considering firm infrastructure, human resources, technology, and purchasing. In that purchasing, we are using some procurement cycles. In here, if we can use ERP system, we can manage these all parties within few costs. Got the idea? Just like that, we can see if we are using accounting information system for this entire process of works, then we can eliminate additional cost. We can eliminate that additional cost arise in each and every primary activities and secondary activities. Got the idea? Right. I think I had explained many of the other matters, right? Okay, now we can take a break, no? What is it? Reduce කරන්නද increase කරන්නද? 26? No, reduce කරන්න ඕනද? 8. 29 means it's heating. Right, anyhow, shall we take a break? Break එක ගමුනේ. Break එක කරගෙන. Right. Online students, shall we take a break, no? 15 minutes. Okay, then in here, that identical points in that supportive activities and primary activities are important for the efficient alignment of cost. That's why we are using systems, right? For in here, sometimes we can see most of the organization are used by some separable systems or standalone systems. In here, for inbound logistics, outbound logistics, up to customers, they are using supply chain management systems. Supply chain management systems. In here, based on the operations, it's having process automation systems. Process automation system in several types based on the assembling, based on the that manufacturing we are using that automated system with the machineries. Machines වලින් තමයි හදන්නේ system එක automate කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒතකොට system එකේ තමයි maintain කරන්නේ හැම දෙයක්ම. Then in that marketing and sales, most probably we are using web series, web services to conduct some promotion service, and this one also, after sales services. Then in here, we are using sometimes some standalone system for each and every department. So sometimes we can use ERP system for that. Then we can mitigate additional cost, additional wastages, and also we can produce some higher quality products with minimal cost or least cost. Then if you are comparing with our production with market productions, in this, I require to convince that, right? Say for an example, selling price. If you are in a competitive market, those selling prices are similar. Selling prices are similar. Got the idea? If you are going within two productions of X and Y, that selling prices are similar in competitive market. Then we are having kind of profits with our cost. Profit with our cost. Say for an example, in here, X produced by using some manual mechanism and so forth, they are having cost of 90 to produce that particular products. Then their profit margin is 10. Got the idea? In that open competitive market. But that Y organization is using that systematic way and some kind of additional systems to build up higher quality products at least cost. Then if they can produce that particular production in 85, they can earn more profit in that same selling price levels. That's why most of the managers are going within these approaches. Got the idea? In nowadays, in lean manufacturing, I think you heard the term as accounting students, lean manufacturing, with very popular versions. On that, we are going within that analysis of financial and also non-financials. Financial and non-financials, both. Some of the situations that non-financial arrangements are reduce some additional cost or improve our outputs, like schedulings. පැහැදිලිද? අපි සමහරලාට අර ලේබර්ස්ලා arrange කරන විදිහ අපිට change කරන්න පුළුවන් systematically. එහෙම නැත්නම් capacities අඩු කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක cost එකට finally output එකට තමයි interpret වෙන්නේ. Just like that. It's having several kind of mechanisms. If we are analyzing this kind of value chains. If you are analyzing value chains, it has several kind of architects to build up lower cost to your organization. Those are the important matters I require to discuss with you as some kind of leaders of your organization, as an accountant or as some kind of managers. You have to get in some understanding. And also, if you are going within these kind of value chain analysis, sometimes if we work in within some holding organizations, those are some additional factors. Sometimes you had studied those matters under strategic management. Strategic management. Strategic management තමයි අපි value chains පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. That's why I'm explaining most of the matters. Say for an example, our organization is a holding organization. Holding organization like, what's that? Hemas in Sri Lanka. Very popular one, no? Hemas. Then they are having pharmaceutical, hospitals, like that, several industries, no? If we can interconnect these two inbound logistics with single order, then we can mitigate several costs. Just like that, it's having several kind of additional thing to discuss a part of these kind of systems. Got the idea, පුතා? අපි දැන් මේ මම මෙතන සිස්ටම් බේස් එක කතා කරාට අපි මේ ස්ට්‍රැටජික් අප්‍රෝච් වල මේ වැලියු චේන් තව වෙනස් විදිහට අපි ඩිස්කස් කරනවා. පැහැදිලිද? දැන් හෝල්ඩින් එක පුළුවන් නම් අපිට distribution in this distribution channels outbound logistics අපේ productions ටික distribute කරද්දී hospitals වලටත් යවන්න පුළුවන්. We can use that single distribution channels to distribute that HEMA's hospitals and also HEMA's pharmacies, that pharmacy channels. Then they can mitigate some additional hiring cost, transportation cost, just like that. As four visible leaders in most of the organizations, they are thinking regarding that cost reductions. It's directly impact to your margins, profits. Got the idea? Just like that, we can analyze in several manner as some managerial disciplines or as kind of accounting professionals. We can evaluate in a different manner to enhance our profit margins. That's the ultimate goal. Got the idea? But anyhow, if we are using system, it's having 100% of transparency and also high quality of outputs, and also we can mitigate additional wastages. Then it will directly affect to the mitigation of cost. Got the idea? Right. Okay, go to next. In here, I'm mentioning these all activities with some components of that. But that tactical knowledge is very important for your examination purpose. පැහැදිලිද? මම මේකේ discussion එක දාලා නැහැ. discussion එක එතකොට ඔයාලට recording එකෙන් තමයි repeat කරන්න වෙන්නේ. දැන් මම කියවනේ ඒක නේද? I had explained all the matters, that relevant matters aligning with systems and so forth. Right. In here, you can see what are the primary activities and supportive activities. I had mentioned those, right? Next, you can see that primary activities, operational activities, inbound logistics, marketing and sales, and service activities. What are the activities? Those are with examples. You can capture some additional knowledge. Got the idea? මේක මම දාලා තියෙනවා එකින් එකට examples එක්ක. Then you can capitalize. Say for an example, inbound logistics consists of receiving, storing, distributing the materials of an organization used to create service of the products. We have to go through in inbound logistics. We have to find out suppliers. We require to get in that raw materials from suppliers and keep stores. For example, an automobile manufacturer receives, handles, and destroys steel, glass, and rubbers based on the productions of car or any other automobiles. Got the idea? Right. Second, operation activities transform input into final productions as outputs. On that operation means we are producing, manufacturing, right? That's the mean behind that, right? Then we can see the finished goods as a car. Then outbound logistics means we require to transmit that cars to final destinations, to the customers. Activities distribute finished products or service to the customers. An example, shipping automobiles to car dealers in Sri Lanka. If you are getting that car example, in nowadays, China to Sri Lanka, BYD productions. That Toyota, Japan to Sri Lanka. Just like that. We called it as a outbound logistics. I had explained that, but getting some understanding. Marketing and sales activities help customer to buy organizational production services. You can convince that customers to purchase it by conducting marketing campaigns. Advertising is an examples of marketing and sales activities. Service activities means after sales services. Provide post-sale support customers. Examples including repair and maintenance services. We have to conduct that activities. And also not only that, we have to be careful about that warranty claims, guarantee claims, that defaults, just like that. Next, supportive activities. Most of the organizations, we can see these kind of basic activities as supportive activities. Your side also available, that accounting. It's a parallel kind of supportive activities. Number one, firm infrastructure. Accounting, finance, legal, general administration activities. Those are aligning with that. entire firm infrastructures. Second one, human resource activities, very important supportive activities. We have to conduct recruiting, hiring, training, and payments to the employees. Next one, technology activities, improve the product and service. Example, it has research and developments. You know that R&D, investments in IT, product designs. Like that, we have to conduct some programs, research programs, surveys, new designs by using that technological activities. Next, purchasing activities or procurement cycles. Procure raw materials from suppliers, machineries and buildings used to carry the primary activities. That procurement is very important. Most probably it's going within tendering. I think very popular to you. I think you are knowing that, no? Tendering. Yes, tendering. You can bid it and then we can accept. And after that, we can reward it. And also we can see some kind of quotations, quotation mechanisms in purchasing. Then it's having 100% transparency by using the system. Just like that, you can argue in many matters by using this approach of value chain. Got the idea? Okay. I think it's having a duplicate one. Right. That supply chain, I have already explained that if we are using that proper channel to distribute our outbound logistics with that particular inbounds. I told you earlier, we can use supply chain management systems. We can interconnect all the parties within a single system. Supply chain and extended system that include the organizational value chain as well as its suppliers, distributors within the customers, all the parties in here. By using these kind of SCM, we can interconnect all the parties to single systems. Got the idea? Using IT to redesign supply chain systems yield tremendous benefits and cost savings among these all parties. Then we can verify all the requirements, that capacities, then we can produce based on that particular requirements, updated requirements. And also we can distribute end users without wastage in any times. Then we can manage the availability and also customer satisfaction as their feedbacks. අපි හරි channel එකේ හරි දිනේට බඩු ටික වෙලාවට customer අතට යනවා නම් එයාලා satisfied. Availability, product availability එක තියෙන්න ඕන. අපි purchase කරන්න ගියාම ගන්න බාන්න තියෙන්න ඕන බාන්න හා සේවා. Otherwise that particular our customers shift to our competitive productions. So therefore we have to handle these all matters. That's why all the organizations are using that information systems to build up that we called it as a higher intimacy among suppliers and the customers, close relationship among customers and suppliers. Then we can conduct a sufficient business. පැහැදිලිද? අපිට හොඳ suppliers ලා හිටියොත් තමයි අපිට production එක streamline කරලා continuity එකක් තියෙන්නේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් idle වෙනවා. Day එකක් idle වෙනවා කියන්නේ ලොකු cost එකක් organization එකට. Suppliers ලාගේ weakness වෙනකොට. අපිට එහෙම කරන්න බෑ. Day එකේ flow එක තියෙන්න ඕන organization එකක් වුණා manufacturing flow එක තියෙන්න ඕන. Day to day අපේ batch cycle එක යන්න ඕන. එහෙම වුණොත් තමයි final output එක success වෙන්නේ. Idle වෙනවා කියන්නේ additional cost එකක්. So therefore that supply chain is very important. And second thing is consumers. We have to supply that particular productions or our finished goods to the end users. Available වෙන්න ඕන market එකේ productions. නැති වුණොත් customer shift වෙනවා competitive productions වලට. එතකොට අපේ business එක තමයි නැති වෙන්නේ. So therefore we have to handle both parties. So that kind of purpose we are redesigning all the transactions by using these kind of novel mechanism, information systems, right? Then we can handle all the transactions, right? Next, it's another kind of additional concepts, right? I had explained, I think, all the matters aligning with value chain. Keep remember, those are important for your examination purpose, right? Examination purpose. But in here, I am discussing other important part in information system. Those are storing devices. storing devices of data or information. Data or informations. Generally, we are using databases. Generally, we are using databases, right? In that database, it's having mainly two types of databases. In here, I am discussing this type, relational database. A part of that nowadays very popular version is non-relational database. Non-relational database. Database කියවම categories දෙකක් තියෙනවා. එකක් තමයි relational database. Other thing is non-relational database, right? So if we are discussing that data, it has kind of different modes. In here, I do not add that advanced features of data, but I can explain to some extent. Then you can capitalize some idea. That data we can see, data we don't see this. I'm trying to get some. No, there's not having any spaces. Right. Right. අපි මේක කතා කරන්නේ නැතුව වෙන දෙයක් කතා කරමුකෝ, right? If we are discussing that data concept, if we are discussing data we can see different kind of models. Some we call those as structured data. Structured data. Sometimes we can see data as unstructured data. Sometimes we can see it as a semi-structured data. In nowadays, most probably we can see these unstructured and semi-structured data. Got the idea? But these structured data are very popular in 1990s to that 2020 in Sri Lanka. Got the idea? That structured data means we can save that particular data within a table. Within a table. If you are designing your database, you can save your structured data in that relational databases. Relational databases. That relational databases means we can store by using a table. Like numbers data, like text data. We can store by using a table. ඔයාලා සමහරලාට access කරපු අය ඇති මොනවද? MS access කරලා තියෙනවද? database. තියෙනවා නම් මේ knowledge එක තියෙනවා, right? MS access එකේ අපිට මොනවද save කරන්න පුළුවන්? මේ වගේ relational data. Numbers, currencies, like that. We call those as structured data. But later, in nowadays, we can see some different mode of data. It having some combination of modes. Sometimes we can see we are getting some feedbacks. In text mode, but we cannot store it in a relational databases. Why is that? We cannot analyze it. Got the idea? Then we can get some idea from that particular comments or some kind of descriptions, just like that. And also we can see some combinations of some data like audio data with text data. Combined. And also we can see some unstructured. Those are kind of semi-structured data. We can see some unstructured data. Some rich media data like some MP4 files, video files, or extensible markup files. In nowadays, very popular versions. I think some of the students are familiar with that. But generally, we can see those kind of variety of data. Then we cannot save these unstructured data in these kind of tables. Got the idea? Right. Then come to Prashtan. In here, I am discussing that relational databases. relational databases. On that relational databases, we can save only structured data. Got the idea? Structured data. We can save only which structured data in relational database. That non-relational database, we can save all kind of data. Structured data, semi-structured data, unstructured data. That's mean video files, audio files, XML files, all the files with that particular budgets and your financial statements like relationals. We can save all the things in that non-relational database. In nowadays, that very popular version is non-relational databases. Got the idea? පැහැදිලිද පුතා? දැන් අපි database කියලා ගත්තාම database වර්ග දෙකයි. එකක් relational database අනිත් එක non-relational database. එතකොට relational database එකේ අපිට save කරන්න පුළුවන් table data. table ඇතුලේ ඔයාලට save කරන්න දැන් ඔයාලා Excel පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. ඔය වගේ තමයි. එතකොට ඒකේ query designs අරන් තමයි අපිට we can take into account some relationships among some variables. Just like that. Right. But anyhow, in here, you can get some understanding regarding that basic storing devices. Basic storing devices. Right. See, first concept is database. Database is a physical device to store some data in some locations. In your organization, is it having database? You can see some fill-in cabinets with that CD drives in physical modes. In nowadays, we are using some, cloud mode to store our data. But generally, we can see that store in places that cloud modes means that cloud is maintained by some organization like Oracle, IBM. They are handling by using different locations. It's having kind of locations to maintain and manage that particular data, but we can save it in a space. There's nothing any physical locations. That's the main behind that. But anyhow, mainly we called it as a storing points or storing devices as database. Got the idea? Right. See, a set of interrelated, centrally coordinated data files that are stored with a little data redundancy and possibility. That redundancy means, in simply, duplications. Say for an example, if you are storing by using database concept, we can eliminate that duplications. It's having one kind of feature, we called it as a key. It's having kind of key. Generally, we called it as a primary key. Primary key. Then we can eliminate duplications by using key fields. Say for an example in here, that Chanaka is going within your student details, right? Then they have to use in that relational database some key field to eliminate duplications. Say for an example, your student ID, it's a unique one. Got the idea? If you are using database concepts, mainly in relational database, we are arranging that key field by using uniqueness. In your that ID numbers, we can see the uniqueness. In your that employee ID, you can see within your organization, it has a uniqueness. In here, student IDs, you can see some uniqueness. Like that, in that relational database, we are using that key fields entering with the primary key to eliminate duplications. එතකොට ඔයාගේ නම්බර් එකෙන් පුතා ආපහු වෙන කෙනෙක් එන්ටර් කරන්න බෑ සිස්ටම් එකට database එකට. එහෙම වුණොත් error code එකක් එනවා. It's indicate or will arise some kind of alerts by using of dialog box. It has a kind of duplication of that number. Just like that. ඔයාලගේ සිස්ටම් එකෙත් එහෙමයි. suppliers ලා ඉන්නවනම් supplier ලාගේ supplier IDs ඇති. customers ලාගෙන් ඔයාලා යනවා නම් invoice numbers. Just like that, we are using that uniqueness or key fields to store our data in relational databases. Got the idea? Then we can eliminate this weakness. What's that? Redundancy. This redundancy or the duplications. Got the idea? That's the key feature. Right. Second one is database management system. That database is a storing location. Database management system is that in between your database and users. That process is maintained by this particular system. Got the idea? Then අපි drawing එකක් කරොත් in here we can see database. මේ database එකේ මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? data ටික තමයි store කරලා තියෙන්නේ. data ටික store කරලා තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට මෙතන කවුද ඉන්නේ? It's having kind of users, clients or the users. Users. Then in between that we can see database management system like MS Access. MS Access. එතකොට MS Access පාවිච්චි කරලා මේ client පුළුවන් data records බලන්න. පැහැදිලිද? එතකොට මේක තමයි database management system එක. එතකොට database එක කියන්නේ මේක. It's a storing place. Database management system is this. Then this database systems means entire. These all we are recognizing as a database system. Database management system and other peripherals with other applications. Got the idea? Those are the three concepts, right? The final one is database administrator. In nowadays, we can see different mode of data administrators aligning with several organizations. Then that particular administrator or administrative manager is liable to save, upgrade, and update all the data in that storing locations. We are using that administrator. The person responsible for coordinating, controlling, and managing the database. He's having or her having that particular responsibility of all datas. Got the idea? Right. No doubt this. එක question එකක් දාගන්නකෝ. Define DBMS. Define DBMS, database management system. Right. You can note down it. That database management system is a software or the application. Right. Others are important for your examination. Keep remember. සමහරවිට exam එකේ database ආන්න පුළුවන් DBMS එක නැත්නම් database system. Database administrator. Not only that. In here, you can get some idea based on the comparison of two approaches. This one is the database approach. This one is the general file approach. Like Excel. අපි Excel එක හදනවා නම් මේ වගේ තමයි හදන්නේ. Generally we call it as a file approach. File approach. On that we can see several kind of redundancy, inconsistency, just like that. This is the database approach. Like MS Access, SQL. මේක තමයි approach එක. Got the idea? See the variances in here. That sales programs, shipping programs, billing programs in this example. We can see separable data storing locations. Separable data storing locations. In here, that sales programs, it has a master files of fact A, fact B, fact C, fact D. Got the idea? Then in here, shipping programs, we can see fact A, fact C, fact E, fact F. Then in billing programs, we can see fact A, fact D, fact E, like that. In here, if we are analyzing these all trees, we can see several duplications, no? Several duplications. Fact A in here, fact A in here, fact A in here. But we are using different locations to store similar data. That means we are wasting our capacities. පැහැදිලිද? අපේ මැෂින් වල මේ බිලින් ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එකේ වෙනම මැෂින් වල ස්ටෝර් කරලා තියෙනවා. shipping machine එකෙත් තියෙනවා මේ ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා. මොනවද? එකම data එක. Got the idea? So, if we are using centralized database, we can overcome these kind of weaknesses. එතකොට මේ ඔක්කොම හැමතැනම තියෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. Say for an example, we can see some duplications within a different mode. දැන් මේකේ සමහර වෙලාවට තියෙන්න පුළුවන්, say for an example, production is a kind of shirts or t-shirts. මෙහෙම තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. extra large විදියට මේ capacity ම තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. In some of the data, that storing place, we can see same data in Excel mode. මේකත් popular නේ. Just like that, we can see several duplications. Not only these kind of facts. දැන් මේකේ බැලුවම කෙලින්ම පේනවා මේ fact A in here, fact A in here, fact A in here. But all the data are similar in fact A. Got the idea? Then this kind of approaches having several kind of weaknesses. By using this database approach, you can see all the data within that centralized single database. Then there's nothing any duplications. Got the idea? අපිට ඕන data ටික හරිම තැන තියෙනවා store කරලා. Got the idea? Then we can distribute these all departments by using our database management system. This is the mechanism of database concepts. Then we can overcome several disabilities and also we can manage our capacities. Got the idea? अब මේකට තමයි database concept එක approach එක කියන්නේ. In here, it's having centralized database. එතකොට මේ ඔක්කොටම use කරන්න පුළුවන් මේ system එක හරහා මේ database එක store කරලා තියෙනවා. Like that. This is the concept. Got the idea? Right. Note down. Illustrate database approach. Illustrate database approach. මේක අත ගන්න. It's having only single centralized locations. Then we can distribute all relevant data among users by using this database management system. Any of the departments, you can mention your finance department, HR department, any of the departments, you can interconnect. Right. Okay, go to next. In nowadays, I told you we are using some non-relational database and additional features of some database types, right? that data warehouse and data marts are very popular in nowadays, right? We are using higher capacity storing uh, of that data by using these data warehouses. See, very large databases containing details and summarized data for number of years that use for analysis rather than the transaction processing. In here, we can store wide variety of data and higher capacity of data. දැන් මේ දවස්වල ගොඩක් popular. In here, it's having additional feature of data mart. Data mart with data warehouse. Then you can save by using these data marts as your functional basis, like finance, HR, marketing, like that. Got the idea? Then you can classify it by using that additional feature. That data warehouse is a very popular one for large databases. We can store higher capacity. Not only that, nowadays we are using clusters, Hadoop clusters like that it has, but simply you can capture some idea. On that, we can store that not only that structured data, semi-structured and other kind of data, so we can store based on the capabilities of that particular systems. Right. Next one, business intelligence. In here, that business intelligence, we are discussing always analyzing capabilities of our data, right? Analyzing capabilities, analyzing large amounts of data for strategic decision makings by using either systems, any of the systems aligning with database. By using those systems, it's having some kind of query analysis or the cluster analysis or anything relating to the finding out some relationships, finding out some outputs, finding out some trending, just like that. We can analyze by using that database in different modes. Sometimes we can generate, it's like a graphical mode. Sometimes we can generate some kind of relationships. We can get some regressions relating to the data locations, capacity of data, like that we can analyze based on the management requirements. It's a kind of additional facts. In your third semester, we are discussing research. We are conducting some research by using these kind of data. On that, you can find out some relationships. You can find out some impact, just like that, after analyzing some data. Just like that, in nowadays, we are using these kind of contemporary approaches. The next one is online analytical processes. In that particular data warehouses or higher capacity of data storing points, we can analyze some queries by using these tools. It's a kind of novel tools. OLAP or online analytical process, right? It's a kind of SQL version in advance. SQL එකෙත් අපි කරන්නේ access එකෙත් අපි කරන්නේ queries හදන එක. But in here we can do some advanced queries in larger data sets. See, using in here, this is special term, using queries to investigate hypothesized relationships among that larger data sets. We can find out. This is another additional tool. Nowadays we are using data mining. It's having some additional features than this OLAP. Using sophisticated statistical analysis to discover unhypothesized relationships in the data. Hidden relationships මොනවා හරි තියෙනවා නම් අපේ data අතර හොයාගන්න පුළුවන්. හොඳ additional tool එකක්. We can build up some clusters, classifications like that. It's having several options, just like that. So those are some database analysis models. Contemporary we are using. Got the idea, පුතා? දැන් අපි database කියන්නේ data store කරන එකම විතරක් නෙමෙයි. ඒතර අපි data වලින් අපි එක්කෝ මේ වගේ business intelligence කරලා analyze එකක් ගන්න ඕන. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒව අතර relationships තියනවාද කියලා බලන්න ඕන. query එකක් හදලා. එහෙම නැත්නම් අපිට discover වෙන්නේ නැති මොනවා හරි hidden patterns තියනවාද? Say for an example මේව කියන්නකෝ. අපි promotion එකක් කරනවා එක production එක refrigerators. ඒතර ඒ promotion කරන කාලේ අපිට සමහර වෙලාවට තව මොනවා හරි home appliance ගිහින් තියෙන පුළුවන් සේල් වෙලා තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක hidden. Got the idea? එහෙම pattern එකක් තියෙනවද කියලා අපිට recognize කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Just like that. Right. Those are kind of contemporary approaches in databases, right? You can mention it as a question. What are the contemporary approaches in database? Contemporary approaches in database. You can mention number one, data warehouse. Second, business intelligence. Third one, online analytical processing, OLAP. Fourth, data mining. Very important. Not only that, say for an example in data mining, if we need to discover out of bulk of comments under your feedback sessions, you have to find out what are the positive comments and what are the negative comments. Got the idea? Say for an example, based on your productions or some kind of your articles or anything, it's having several kind of comments, no? දැන් ඔයාලා අපි social media platform එකට දැම්මාම ගොඩක් අය feedbacks එවනවා. දැන් production එකට කියලා හිතන්නකෝ. Is it having 2 millions of feedbacks? 2 millions of feedbacks. අපිට එනවා million දෙක විතර feedbacks in worldwide. එතකොට අපිට analyze කරගන්න පුළුවන්ද? Very hard, no? That kind of purpose we can use data mining. It has options you can classify it under positive comments and negative comments, just like that. That's why we are using these kind of sophisticated tools. And we can find out, discover some hidden patterns, novel trends, අලුත් දේවල් හොයන්න පුළුවන්. And also it's aligning with some AI versions, machine learning versions, ML versions, just like that. We can see some sophisticated aberrations in that tools. Got the idea? Right. Okay. Next one, data integrations. See, it's another kind of concepts, right? Master files are combined into larger pools that data of application programs access. That's mean we are storing bulk of data in integrated sessions of our systems. Then we can generate some outputs. See, as an example, the employee database that consolidated payroll, personal, job skills, master files. Like that, we can combine several files together with that single locations. It's important. Based on the relevance, we can see some additional features like these kind of clusters that Oracle or some related organizations, those who are providing Hadoop clusters. Then we can save that integrated bulk of data on that particular clusters. Just like that. It's having kind of upgraded novel mechanisms to store our data. Right. Next one is data sharing. By using that sophisticated tools, simply we can share among users. That's the important thing. Integrated data are more easily to share with authorized users. Databases are easily to browse to reach problem and obtain detail of information underlined in the reports. All that database systems aligning with data dictionaries. Aligning with some kind of data dictionaries. Those are some common materials. Try to catch up. Right? That data dictionaries indicate all users and all manipulations, all changes arising with your accessing. ඔයාගේ access එකට ඔයාගේ ID එකට පෙන්නනවා අපි report එකක් ගත්තොත් එහෙම. මේ dictionary report එකක්. එතකොට අපිට recognize කරගන්න පුළුවන් කවුද මේවා eliminate කරේ, delete කරේ, upgrade කරේ, just like that. Got the idea? But anyhow, that sharing is very important fact. We can share among relevant users or authorized users. Next one, minimal data redundancy and data inconsistencies. I explained it on that point. We can eliminate data duplications and inconsistency. Different values in different locations. අර extra large කියලා තියෙනවා, Excel කියලා තියෙනවා. By using this approach of database, we can mitigate or we can reduce that data redundancy and inconsistency. Those are key features in databases. Right. Next one, data independence. It's another kind of important matter. If we are performing data, it should align with some independencies, right? Otherwise, is it depend on other kind of matters? Sometimes it's having some operation problems, right? See, data independence. Because data and programs that use them are independent of each others. Each can be changed without changing the others. This facilitates programming and simplifies the data management. That's the important thing. All data going within independencies. Then, based on that basic features, we can change it by using proper users, not others. By using proper users, we can upgrade it, we can allocate it. That's why we called it as a data having some independence. Next one is cross-functional analysis. If we are going within that centralized databases, we can analyze all functional data. Say for an example, as an accountant, you can manage, you can handle production data. You can manage and handle HR data. Cross-functional. All functional areas, you can go through and analyze it. See that in a database system, relationships such as the associations between selling costs and the promotional campaigns can be explicitly defined as a use of preparations of management reports. You can find out in here promotional campaigns in marketing departments, selling cost in selling departments to build up your financial management reports. Among these cross-functional areas, you can cater your required data to build up or disseminate your final reports. Good idea. Like that. That's the importance of databases. Right. Next, those are kind of examples in relational database. In here, you can see for desktop, most popular version is MS Access. For that large mainframes and mini-range computers, we are using DB2, Oracle, Microsoft SQL servers. Then we can see open source database models as MySQLs. Then we can change that, upgrade it. Got the idea? Right. Make a notice. Write examples. Write examples for relational databases. For relational databases. For relational databases. Relational database කිව්වේ මොනවද? අපිට table එක save කරන්න පුළුවන් data තියෙන ඒවාට තමයි relational databases. ඊට බලන්නකෝ relational database represent the data in two-dimensional tables called relations. අපි අතර table වල තමයි save කරන්නේ like column and row. It's seven. We are using different terms like tuples. Tuples කියලා තමයි ඒ කියන්නේ. Terms ගැන හිතන්න එපා. Right? Those are kind of examples. ඔයාලා මේ ටික notice කරගන්නකෝ. Right? Microsoft Access for desktop or PCs. DB2, Oracle Database, Microsoft SQLs for mid-range and large mainframes. Then MySQL is example for open source. Open source. Like that, most of the Sri Lankan organizations, those who are use these SQL servers in your organization, I think it's 7. But our personal purpose, we are using Access. Or study purpose, MS Access is very popular one. Microsoft one. Not only that, it's having non-relational database also. Non-relational databases. I do not discuss in here. These are relational databases. Okay. Then this is the final topic of your this overview recognitions of entire accounting information system. This one not only for the accounting, for all the purpose we are using this kind of approaches. Right. If we are designing any of the systems, we are using these documents. These documents to interpret that links among some parties as data submissions or sometimes process arrangements, just like that. We are using different kind of models. In here, I am discussing three types. I am discussing three types, right? We can see it in a later, but in here you can get some understanding, right? The documentations, right? In documentations explain how the system is work by including these kind of WH and H questions. Who are the users? What we are using, when we are using, where we are using, why we are using, and how we are using. Just like that, it's having kind of answers based on your that particular structure. It's a kind of design. It's a kind of design. Got the idea? අපි දැන් මේ බිල්ඩින් එක හදනවා කියලා හිතන්නකෝ. අපි මේ බිල්ඩින් එක හදනවා නම් එකපාරම බිල්ඩින් එක හදාගෙන යනවද? නෑ. We have to conduct some architecture sessions, no? Then we have to design it. Structure එක හදන්න ඕන. Nowadays, we are going within online modes. It has a device like CAD, computer aided designs. By using those, we can design these kind of buildings. Right? In here also similar, if we are developing some systems, we have to go through in this kind of documentation. Then we can recognize all the relevant parties aligned with that particular systems. Right? How of data entry, data processing, data storage, information outputs, system controls, like that. All kind of questions we can discuss by using these documents. Right? Popular, that means documentation system includes it having diagrams, flowcharts, tables, other kind of graphical interpretations. In here, I am discussing that flowcharts. It has data flow diagrams and also business relationship diagrams, like that it has ER diagram, entity relationship diagrams, like that it has multi-variety of types. But we can see some of the types. කීපයක් අපි බලලා අතිවර කරමු මේක. Right. Note down this, මේක පොඩ්ඩක් documentation එක ලියා ගන්නකො. What is mean by system documentation? System documentation, right? If we are telling it in a simple, how a system works. මේක තමයි තියෙන්නේ. System එක කොහොමද වැඩ කරන්නේ? Entire process of the system. It's aligning with the documentation. That's the main behind that. And based on your that marks in your examination, you have to explain it. Is it having 1 or 2 marks? You can use by simple terms. Otherwise, is it having 5 marks or 10 marks? You have to explain up to this. But simply documentation means we are interpreting that working schedules, working structure of a system, right? That's the meaning behind that, right? In here, I'm mentioning that techniques, right? May techniques ටික දාගන්න. What are the techniques in documentations? What are the techniques in documentation? What are the techniques in documentation? Right. Write down number 1, data flow diagrams. Number 1, data flow diagrams. Number 2, flow charts. Number 2, flow charts. Number 3, business process diagrams. Main තුන දාගත්තාම ඇති highlight කරලා තියෙන දුඩු. Idea capture වෙනවනේ. Right. Right. In that second one, it's having 3 subsets. 3 subsets we will discuss, right? First one is data flow diagrams. අපි system එක හදනකොට system එක architect කරන්න ඕන data කොහොමද flow වෙන්නේ කියලා. Very simply. That receiving points, storing points, and distributing points. Just like that. Then you can indicate by using different types of symbols. අපි symbols වලින් තමයි මේක architect කරන්නේ. And also we are using some arrows to interpret that relationships among that links. Link එකේ කොහොමද relationship එක ඒක indicate කරන්න ගොඩක් කලාවට මේ වගේ arrows පාවිච්චි කරනවා. Right? In data flow charts and these business process diagrams. that business process diagram flow charts, it's having three types, basic three types, right? See, document flow charts, system flow charts, program flow charts. Program flow charts. මේක ලොකුවට ස්ටඩි කරන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. මට ඔයාලට පොඩි idea එකක් තමයි දෙන්න ඕනේ. You are in accounting cycle, no? Not in IT. But anyhow, that structure is very important. Sometimes on your examination, they are asking by using some symbols. What's that? As your MCQ. Then you have to recognize something, right? Third one is business process diagrams. Among some employee in your entity, we can find out relationships among using of that accounting information system. එතකොට අපිට බලන්න පුළුවන් ඉස්සෙල්ලාම මේක පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ කස්ටමර්ද සේල්ස් ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එකේ නම් කවුද තනුරද සමාධිද එහෙම බලන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ විදිහට අපිට business process එකේ හදා ගන්න පුළුවන් business process up to the final destinations of customers. We can build up it. Right, anyhow, we'll see simply. Number one, data flow diagrams. Data flow diagrams. On that, we are using these kind of symbols. This kind of symbols. It has a square box to interpret data sources and the destinations. Both. එන තැනක් තියෙනවා, destination එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක තමයි මේ data flow එකේ boxes පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. Second arrow is data flows. Transformation process indicate by a circle. Transform වෙනවා නම් process වෙනවා නම් circle එකක් තියෙන්නේ. Data store කරන locations, we can see two horizontal lines. Horizontal lines. In here, you can see some internal controls as that red bolded, that yellow color triangle. Like that. Got the idea? Right. See one example. මේවා ලොකුවට කතා කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. ඔයාලා දැක්කාම ඇති. In here, you can see data sources points and data destinations. Those are kind of processes. This is also kind of destinations. This one is a store in place. Like that. This is kind of architect in data flow diagrams. පැහැදිලිද කතාව? If you are moving up to next, in here you can see based on the customer orders. දැන් මෙතන අපි customer නම් pay කරේ පළවෙනි process එක. In here we can see customer payments. එතකොට පළවෙනි destination එක bank එකට තමයි cash ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. This is the destinations. අපි program එක මෙහෙම තමයි හදලා තියෙන්නේ. Second එකේ update කරන්න ඕන අපි receivables විදියට. Receivables අපිට ලැබිලා තියෙනවා. Customer ගේ credit ගියපු එක දැන් අපිට payments හම්බෙලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට අපිට update එකක් කරන්න ඕන account receivables අපේ show කරලා තියෙන එකේ ඊට අමතරව credit management එතන interface එකේ යන්න ඕන. Got the idea? Likewise, we can design it. In here, mainly we can see the flow of data. Flow of data by using these diagrams. Right. Come to next. In here, you can see some context diagrams in data flow. Then simple way තිබ්බේ. In here, you can see human resources and departments based on the payments of payrolls. එතකොට department වලින් අපි time card වලින් දෙන්න වෙනව මොනවද? එයාලගේ attendance. නැත්නම් working schedules. එතකොට මෙතන දෙනවා employees ලගේ payment rates, එයාලගේ calculations ටික. Then this is the payroll cycle. Payroll cycle. එතකොට destinations මොනවද වෙන්නේ? Tax reports තියෙනවා නම් government agencies, EPF ඒ ටික වෙනම pay කරන්න ඕන. Employee මේ checks එහෙම නැත්නම් මේක අපි කියමුකෝ deposit එක. ඒක කීයද කියලා employee ට යන්න ඕන record එක. මෙතන payroll check එක bank එකට යන්න ඕන. bank එකට cash deposits එන්න ඕන. payroll report එකක් management එකට distribute කරන්න ඕන. Like that. We can architect that information system based on the payroll. පැහැදිලිද? මේ වගේ එක එක කොටස අපි plan කරන්න ඕන. Based on the relevancy of that particular transactions for that particular department. Ultimately, we can design accounting information system for entire organization after analyzing each and every part. පැහැදිලිද පුතා? අපි ඒතකොට structures ගොඩක් හදාගෙන යන්න ඕන. දැන් ඊළඟට ගියාම ටිකක් advance. පැහැදිලිද? ඒ වගේ තව කීපයක් add කරන්න පුළුවන්. මෙතන payroll එක තියෙනවා. මෙතන report තියෙනවා, taxes හදන එක තියෙනවා, payments තියෙනවා. මේ ඔක්කොම interconnect කරන්න පුළුවන් like that. Then we can expand our features by using that main identical points. Got the idea? right? එතකොට මේ වගේ structure එකකට තමයි data flows හදන්නේ. It's not a simple one. It's a kind of, I mean, additional capabilities arising with that. It has some specific employees for that purpose, right? The second type is flowcharts. Flowcharts. Previous one is data flow diagrams. In here, that flowcharts, it has three types, no? Mainly it has three types, but we are using this kind of symbols. These kind of symbols to interpret their locations, right? මේවා ලොකුවට ඔලුවට ගන්න එපා. mechanism එක මතක තියාගන්න, right? ඔයාලා drawings කරන්නේ නැහනේ. ඒතර මේ drawings අනිවාර්යෙන් design stage එකේ වෙන්න ඕන දේවල්, right? See, flowchart, analytical technique that uses to standard set of symbols to describe pictorial some aspect of information system in clear, conscious and logical manner. Then we can recognize where that particular process is flowing. අපි process එක ගත්තොත් process එකේ කොහොමද මේ flow එක වෙන්නේ? Mechanism එක. Like that. Right? In here, you can recognize that payroll cycles by using flowcharts. In here, you can see accounts payables. Each and every symbol interpret your destinations. මෙතන මොනවද වෙන්නේ කියලා බලන්න පුළුවන් මේ symbols වලින්. Got the idea? Right. දැන් අපා previous එකකින් බලන්නකෝ. දැන් මේ symbols වලින් මොනවද පෙන්වන්නේ? Multiple copies of one paper documents. This one is a document. This one is a electronic output. This one electronic data entry. Like that. It has some identical symbols for each and every process or items. You can see. Got the idea? Then we can design it. First, we have to capture these. In nowadays, we are using additional tools in that computerized modes. Then we can decide it in a, I mean, simplest manner than previous. අර ඉස්සර අර කට්ටිය ආකිටෙක්ට් කරා වගේ දැන් අඳින්න ඕනේ නැහැ. අපිට එතන මොඩල් එක සිලෙක්ට් කරාම ඒක ඉන්සර්ට් වෙනවා automatically. හැදෙයිද? ඕන එක ගේන්න විතරයි, ඕන arrow එක ගේන්න විතරයි. Then we can customize it. Got the idea? Like that. Very simple. But this is the main identical facts. මේක තමයි fact එක. Right. In here, it's having system flowchart, program flowchart, and process flowchart. We can build up under flowcharts, right? මම මේක එකක් add කරලා තිබ්බා මට මතක විදියට, right? In here, you can see system flowchart. System එක කොහමද flow වෙන්නේ? කොහෙද store වෙන්නේ? Just like that. It has. Got the idea? Right. You can see and get some understanding. Nah? That's enough. That means in examination, we do not ask these matters in advance, right? The third mechanism is business process diagram. Main third one. First one, data flow diagrams. Second one, flow charts. It has three types. Then third one is business process diagrams. In that business process diagrams, we are using different symbols than previous two. කලින් දෙකට වැඩිය හරි simple මේක. Business process එක කොහොමද යන්නේ කියලා. This symbol, that circle is aligning with start or the begins. This bolded one is end. මේ bold එක આવොත් ඒක තමයි final destination එක end. In these rectangles, it's interpret activity in the process. In here, this rhombus signs is interpreted by decisions or that diamond signs. This arrow is indicated by flow. This dotted arrow is indicate that annotation informations, additional informations, like that. Those are the kind of symbols we are using in business process diagrams. See one example. In here, you can see within employees, we can go through that each and every destinations. Got the idea? මෙතනින් බලන්න පුළුවන් මේ. You can see some names are available in here. On that, we can see human resource department, payrolls, account payables, just like that. අපිට ඕනනම් මේ departments විදියට වෙන වෙනම ගන්නත් පුළුවන්. We can arrange. This is a business process, no? Starting points. This is the starting points. In here, you can see ending point. In here, you can see ending point. Bolded one. No? Others are processings. Those are processing. Those are begins or starting. Like that. All the things we can schedule, we can structure by using these kind of graphical documentation. It's very attractive to the users. No, we can explain by using these kind of charts. අපිට ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එකට ගියාම එහෙම නැත්නම් ඕගනයිසේෂන් එකට ගියාම මේක තමයි අපි හදලා තියෙන ස්ට්‍රක්චර් එක. මේක තමයි accounting information system එකේ structure එක. Is it has any kind of weaknesses? Then we can discuss. We can conduct some board meetings. Just like that. Got the idea? Right. Generally, it has three types. This one is business process diagrams. Next one is data flows and also flowcharts. Right. Those are the identical matters in this session. මේක මම දාලා තිබ්බ ඔය ටික විතරයි. I think we had discussed all the matters in this presentation, right? And also, it's having main points under your final examination. So therefore, keep remember. All matters are important in your examinations. You require to keep remember those, right? Online students. Right. It's having Buddhika, no? Okay. Anyhow, right. In this point, online students, I will wind up your session. We will discuss later matters, that second chapter in next day, right?